Hey guys, so today I want to talk to you about brushes. First of all, let's get this out of the way. I filmed this video about 5 times, maybe more. There's been times where I've been out of focus, there's been times where it's just been too long, because I have a million brushes I want to talk to you guys about. But after filming this a few times, I figured let's just show you guys my favorite brushes and the brushes that I've been using a lot lately and the brushes that I keep in my makeup bag currently, just so that this video is not a million hours long. Now, I wanted to get something out of the way, kind of like a little disclaimer. My thought on brushes is this, and of course it differs with every artist or everybody's different opinion, but this is my opinion, and you by no means have to follow it or have to think the way I do about it, but I tend to think that brushes with a natural hair, and I use quotations because there are some synthetic brushes that mimic a natural hair brush. Usually a natural hair brush is going to be a dark hair such as this one right here, and normally natural hair bristles are good for blending powders or any kind of blending, something like that. Synthetic hairs are normally a lighter color and they have more of a silkier texture to it, and they very well could be a natural hair as well, but the bristles that I'm talking about are something that are going to be more silky and they mimic a synthetic hair, if that makes any sense. So when I talk about blending powders and I say a natural hair brush, I'm going to be talking about something such as this one. When I say a synthetic hair, I'm going to be talking about something such as this one, which synthetic hairs, to me, they seem like they pack on more colors. So if you're using a shadow and you want to really pack that intensity onto the lid, you probably want to go with something more of a synthetic hair, because synthetic hairs really grab onto color and they really pack things on. So that's why when you're trying to blend a powder or blend a crease color, you want to use a natural hair bristle or a natural hair, because it's going to buff out and seamlessly give you that gradient diffused look to the eye. So I hope that all makes sense, and that all being said, let's get into my favorite brushes. I'm going to kind of do this in a little bit of an order. I'm going to start off with foundation brushes, and I have 2 here that I'm going to show you that are kind of similar, and I kind of wanted to show you 2 of them because one is more expensive than the other. The first one I'm going to show you is the Sigma F80, of course, and I know this thing gets a lot of hype on YouTube and Instagram and all of that, but I truly, genuinely really like this brush. No, this video was not sponsored by any of the companies that I'm going to be showing you. There was one company that gave me brushes last year at a makeup show for free, but they did not I did not have to talk about them. I did not have to say good things about them. I'm just simply telling you because I like the brush. This company did not send me this brush. I bought it with my own money and I absolutely love it. I love that it has the perfect density to it. It's not too dense, it's not too flimsy, so it really buffs that foundation in. It's a flat top, so I really feel like when you want to push the foundation in and get less streaks, you can buff it, you can stipple it, you can do all that good stuff with it, and it does a great job at buffing in thin consistency foundations and thicker consistency foundations. So I really, really love this. This is my go-to brush when I apply foundation. And then an alternative to that, if you don't want to go and spend the money on Sigma, is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, or this one is the buffing brush. The Expert Face Brush is the one that you can buy separately. This one did come in the kit. It comes with like this one and 2 other brushes. The only difference is this one is more round. The Expert Face Brush is a little bit more squished like that, but they basically do the same exact thing. The difference between these 2 is that this one's a little bit more rounded. It's not a flat top, and it's less dense than the Sigma one, but they both do the same job. I feel like you get a little bit more coverage with the Sigma one because it's a little bit more dense. My thought on that is that the denser the brush, the more coverage or the more intensity you're going to get with the product that you're using. But this one is definitely a little bit cheaper than this one. You can use a coupon on the Real Technique brushes at Ulta, so usually can get a pretty good deal on them. Going back to what I said about the synthetic hairs, so when you use a synthetic haired brush such as these brushes here, they're going to grab onto that pigment and really move that product around. So when you use like an eyeshadow and you really want that pigment pressed on the lid, a synthetic brush is a really good option to go with because it's really going to pack that color on. It's really going to pick that color up off of the pan and place it onto the lid with really good pigment. Same as like a foundation brush. You really want it to cling onto that that product and move it around on the face. Yeah, you do want it to be buffed, but not the same way as a natural hair bristle brush would buff out a powder and really make it diffused and nice. It's not really going to cling on to that product. It's just going to pick it up enough to buff it onto the eyelid and really diffuse it out, if that makes any sense. So the next one I'm going to show you guys is for concealer. This is the F86 brush by Sigma. I really love that it's a pointed kabuki brush. Again, it has those synthetic hairs, so it's really going to pick that product up and move it around and press it into the skin. I really like to use this for underneath the eye. Now, it's not going to absorb the product, but it is going to pick it up and place it right in the places where you want it to. But I really love this because it fits right underneath the eye and you tap it out really easy. It's almost like a finger but big, and it's great for that little triangle of light area underneath the eye. You can use it on top, you can use it down, you know, your T-zone, all that good stuff. I'm going to use a brush to highlight with concealer. That's always the one that I go to. So next, for a powder brush, I wanted to show you this Royal & Langnickel brush. Now, powder brushes are one of the only brushes that I like to use synthetic or natural hair. There's about 2 brushes in my collection that I will use synthetic or natural. Normally, I will have my choice depending on what I'm going to use it for. But powder brushes, I pretty much will use anything because I'm really only packing the color on like this. I'm not going to be buffing it on unless I'm using the powder foundation for my full foundation. So when I like to set my foundation, my liquid foundation with the powder, I go in with a powder brush such as this one and just pack the powder on like this. I will never rub because I feel like it's going to move the foundation underneath, and you're really using a powder to set that foundation right where it is. So once your foundation is set, you can move on to other powder products, which I like to contour with powder products. So this is my favorite contouring brush of life ever, and I did get this from either Morphe or Crown Brush. I'm not really sure. I got it a while ago before like all the Morphe hype became popular or whatever. This one is a blush brush, and I love it for contouring. I did use it today because you can fit right underneath your cheekbone, and then you can switch it like this and kind of buff it out. So I love this guy. I do switch him out every once in a while depending. Sometimes I will use this one by Royal & Langnickel. It's almost like a little mini Ita brush, and it just fits right in here, and I kind of do little circles and buff it out. This one is the BX35. This one does not have a name. I do not even know how much it is. I tried to find it online and I can't, so I'm sorry for even showing you this. But my point of showing it is that I like to use different brushes for contouring. Like this one is super thin and flat and kind of like rectangular Ita brush looking. And then this one's nice and fluffy. It gives you a more buffed appearance. So just depending on what kind of look I'm going for, I kind of switch it up. But I love these two. They're amazing. The next brush I'm going to show you is a powder brush. This is an angled powder brush by Crown Brush. I do have the same exact one by Morphe, so I switch between the two of them. But this I really like to buff out my contour and then also bronze up the skin. So I'll use it right on the top of my cheekbones and even hit like the forehead and stuff like that. This is a natural hair brush, and I really love the way it blends out my contour and bronzes up the skin. So I love, love, love this. The next brush is a Duo Fiber brush. This one is, it's called a Duo Texture brush, and it's by Boomy Master. This brush I actually got in a set, and it was like a really expensive set that I got when I did a class with, it was an advanced class with Candy Johnson, and she showed these brushes and she was using these on her model, and I was like, okay, yes, I do need that really expensive brush set. And I have to say, the brushes are really amazing. This one is the one that I do use the most out of the set. And it's just your regular Duo Fiber brush. And I like to use this for my blush because I really feel like it gives me that nice, like, blushed look, but also gives me great pigment. The next brush I'm going to show you guys is an eyebrow brush, and this one is from Beauty Basics. Somebody got me a brush set off of Groupon, I believe, and this is the only brush that I actually use from that set, but it is amazing, and I've literally searched the world for a brush like this one, and I can't find it. So if I ever lose this one, I am screwed. I don't know how much it is, but I just love it because the density of it is perfect. It's like nice and stiff, but not too stiff. It's still flexible. It's like medium density, I guess, but I just literally love it. And it's like kind of thick, but it's soft, and I can't really explain it, but it's amazing. I did want to mention it just in case you guys happen to get a Beauty Basics set and you have this brush. Use it, because I literally thought the Beauty Basics set was like a piece of shit, but this brush is amazing. The rest of the brushes I'm going to talk to you guys about are eye brushes, and I have a couple different brands here. So the first one I'm going to show you guys is a Sigma E40 blending brush, and this baby right here, it's a tapered blending E40, and it is the perfect brush for transition colors. I should have bought like 10 more of these at IMATS because they are amazing at doing transition colors. Basically, they give you the best buffed out gradient freaking whatever. It's amazing. If you don't have this, you definitely need this in your collection. If you're looking at eye brushes and you're like, oh, which ones do I need? You need this one. It's worth every penny, and it's really not that expensive. Sigma brushes are like a cheaper alternative to MAC. They're still expensive, but they are great quality. Then I will go in with usually this brush. MAC has a dupe for this, and well, not a dupe, but MAC has one like this, and also Sigma has one like this. I do have it somewhere back there. This one is the Delium Tool 776 brush, and I absolutely love it. Literally the same exact as the MAC one and as the Sigma one. And I like to use this one for my little outer corner and blending that in, and then I'll usually go back in with the Sigma E40 and blend it out just so that there's no harsh edges. But I love these. So you have these two. It's definitely a lot more dense and a lot more like thinner than the E40. And then I also have this 224 by MAC. It's a little bit different than the E40. It's a lot slimmer and it is a little bit more tapered, but this one I like if I really want to, like, say I'll put my transition color and then I want something in my actual crease, I'll usually use this one and then still use the 776 for my outer corner. But these three together are amazing, and you can kind of see the difference between the three. So you have, like, they're a little bit different. This one's a little bit more flat and then a little bit more tapered and smaller and more dense. Then you have this one, it's a little bit more fluffy than this one, a little less dense than this one, definitely tapered and has, it kind of goes out and then back in. And then you have the E40, which is a lot wider and a lot fluffier, which is going to give you more blending. So the fluffier the brush, the more blending you're going to get. The smaller, more dense, the more color impact you're gonna get. But these are all a natural hair bristle, natural hair brush, so they're all really good for blending. I do not like to use like the Urban Decay double-ended brushes. I don't like to use the blending side of it because I feel like it's a synthetic hair. It's picking up that color and then literally packing it onto the lid. So when you're trying to buff your crease, it's like patchy and not blended, and I don't like to mess with those synthetic brushes for buffing out stuff. So then the last brush I'm going to show you is I always forget the name of this and I've had it for so long there's no number on it, 242 brush by MAC. It's just a flat brush and it really packs on color. So again, it's very flat, so it's really going to pick up that color and pack it on. The flatter the brush, the more pigment it's going to pick up. The fluffier the brush, the less pigment it's going to pick up. Now, the last two things I'm going to show you are sponges. The first one is this Real Techniques Expert Face Sponge. I love this sponge. It's $5.99 at Ulta usually. Sometimes they're more expensive, sometimes they're less. Sometimes they're less depending on their sale. They usually have like buy one get one half off, or you can use your Ulta coupon like the $3.50 off on it. But these are super cheap, and this is the only sponge that mocks the Beauty Blender, that is anything like the Beauty Blender. They're nice and squishy like the Beauty Blender. The material is made just like the Beauty Blender, and I love the fact that it has this little angle on the sponge, and then the other side is still a point just like the Beauty Blender, and it fits right under the eye or in small areas around the nose, all that stuff. But I love this flat side. I didn't think that I was going to love it. I didn't even think I was going to like it because it was flat, but I really love it for just packing on the color. For thicker foundations, I really love this because it makes it look a lot less thick and a lot less cakey on the face and a lot less like you're wearing a ton of makeup. So if you have a full coverage foundation that you feel sometimes just looks a little cakey, try using a sponge. Now you want to use these wet, so make sure you put these under water and squeeze it out a couple times. Make sure it's completely saturated. Squeeze it all the way out. It's going to get double the size when it's wet, like this one. Use that bitch. It's amazing. And you will see nice sponges you'll be able to fold up in your hand and not be able to see it. If you can see, like, see how squishy this one is? If you get one from, like, I don't know, Forever 21 or Amazon, whatever, you're going to see that they do not they don't squish like this one. And the material is a lot different. And believe me, if you don't want to spend the money on the Beauty Blender, go try this one. You're going to save your money and your time, and you're really going to like it. When I used those ones from Amazon, I didn't like it. I was like, the Beauty Blender does not work for me. Oh my god, no, no, no. Sponges, no, no, no. I need a brush. Try this. I promise you'll like it. And then the only other sponge I want to mention is this Makeup Bullet. I've mentioned this in a couple of my videos. No, it's not sponsored. I just love this sponge. And basically, this is going to be a makeup artist's best friend because you can still blend away, you can still do whatever you need to without even putting this sponge down, and it's so easy. You can use it wet or dry. It's just like the Beauty Blender, made out of the same material. I don't know if they're like made by the same people. Well, I know they're not made by the same people, but I mean manufacturer wise. It's super convenient because you can just put it right on your finger. You get 3 of them for $24.95, so you get 3 of them pretty much for the price of the Beauty Blender. So that's all I have for my brushes. Again, use what works for you. By no means do I know it all. This is just what works for me. If you guys have any questions, because I know that my whole theory on brushes is a little bit confusing, then just go ahead and leave any questions or comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon. Bye.
When you use a natural hairbrush, it's going to... Why is there water on this brush? Hopefully that makes sense. I can get it. I'm like playing fucking musical chairs with these bitches, but